Well, hello and welcome to today's video, which is going to be about foraging. Now, I've plenty to say on this subject, but I'm just going to introduce you to some common things that you can eat and which you might even find in your gardens if you've got one, but you can easily find them out. Now, one of the things I need to say is that if you're going foraging, you need to go to for things that are common. Okay, I'll come on that in another video, because some things are getting rarer with how common foraging has become. Because there's a lot of people who go foraging who don't work in the countryside, they don't work in nature. They just think that they can go have their week of working and earning money and doing the corporate thing very often, and then going out into the woods and taking stuff, which is what it is. Now, I'm not alone in being a nature worker who says things like that. So go for the common stuff, unless you've got permission to be on the land. But even so, don't be greedy. Now, half an hour ago it was dead quiet, so you'll have to excuse the banging and the noise that's just started up. So a word of caution. Now, if you do have a garden, or you do go out in the countryside and you find you get rashes or you have some kind of reaction, give it 2 days to find out and work out what that is. So as a rule, I would say don't eat anything that gives you a reaction when you touch it. For example, if it gives you a rash, like cleavers, I'm not going to eat. I'll point them out to you, but I'm not going to eat them, because I react. I get a rash. The same can go for cow parsley, and certainly hogweed, lesser hogweed, which you can eat the stems and the young shoots and the young leaves and the flower heads. But as someone who, this is why you should, maybe if you're going to do it, learn your identification, get to know it. I'll put the Latin names on the screen, and that way you won't eat the wrong thing, because lesser hogweed is actually poisonous and can give you a reaction. But there are poisonous things that you can eat. So maybe it's not poisonous, maybe there's another word for it, but I'm not going to eat it. I'm going to point it out though, in case you want to try it, but you do so at your own risk. But everything, maybe, back 30 odd years ago when we started getting into foraging, because we were nature workers, me and people I knew, we would try stuff out, and we would just eat a bit and see if we had a reaction. We wouldn't, like I said, anything that we had a reaction to when we were working, we wouldn't touch, or we would do it very cautiously. So that's what I'd say. If you want to try something, learn your identification and try it, wait a couple of days and see if you get a reaction to anything, and then try and narrow down what it is. So let's start. Well, this is hedge garlic, and we'll start here. Now, if you look at the leaves, see they're kind of almost unmistakable. The leaves, well, the name, this has got loads of names, loads of common names. So, you have to learn to identify. So, I'll put the name on the screen, the Latin name. And you see, everything about this is edible. even the roots, you can do things with the roots. I think it might be used in Chinese herbal medicine, but that's not something I've gone into because I'm just still about foraging the tops really. So every part of this plant you can eat. You can eat the flowers, you can eat the leaves, and you can eat the stems. And the leaves, they taste like garlic, as its name implies. Not as strong as ramsons, and a bit like three-cornered leek if you've ever tried that. The flower buds, or the flowers, they've got a slightly deeper note, if I can use perfume terminology. They've got a deeper note to their taste. And stem I haven't tried yet, but I'm about to. So I'm going to cut a bit of stem, peel it and eat it. So there we have it. I think the reason for peeling is because the stem can get stringy. This probably wasn't as stringy as I was expecting. So it's yeah, it peels up, you know, like celery has the stringy bits. Well, it's a bit like that. So I'm going to try a bit now. I won't do it on camera because who wants to see me eat? Very crunchy. Nicely crunchy, actually. Well, I have to say, that's nice. You can eat it cooked or raw. And I would guess if it's younger, it might be nicer at raw. So you can put that in salads, or you could add it to stews, I suppose. What I find very often with things like ramsons, three-cornered leek, and maybe this as well, is that you often put it in just towards the end of cooking, just so it doesn't go incredibly soft. A bit like spinach. That's how I'd treat it. I had cheese and pickle sandwiches, and I put a bit of I put some leaves in, and it was very nice. I would thoroughly recommend it. There's another common plant, daisy, which you can eat the flowers. That tastes like the smell of a greenhouse. It's nice. And the leaves, which are these, they have a similar taste. Kind of a bit sweet, actually, I'd say. Kind of bitter and sweet. Very nice. Yeah, bung some of that in. That's normally a raw thing for salads. You know, as a lot of foraging food is pretty much to be eaten as is. Yeah, everybody's favourite common weed. So many uses for this. You can cook the leaves, you can have the leaves in salads, you can eat the flowers. I just eat the petals rather than the stem bit, and you can use the roots for coffee. It does have other healing qualities, the roots, but I think you can eat it as well. You know, dig it up, wash it, make sure it's clean, and then you can cut it into, you know, treat it like any other root vegetable, I would guess. I haven't actually done it, but I will do. Now here's the kind of leaf that you'd want to put in your salad. Most people wash stuff, but I know what's, you know, I'm in a place that I know, so I'm going to eat that and tell you. Yeah, that's a bitter one as well, but we need bitter stuff in our food. So I would take a flower head and I would tell you what these petals taste like. Well, quite pleasant. It's really hard to describe because it's like eating, it's almost like eating shredded food. But yeah, I'd add that to your salads. You can pull the petals out and it makes a nice yellow everywhere. And while we're here, unmistakable primrose. Primula vulgaris, isn't it? Which you can eat flowers, so I'm going to pick that one. They're handy on salads. Not really much of a taste to them, so I will try a young leaf. That's very perfumed. I would say it's almost like eating some shampoo. Probably I'd say don't overdo putting that in your salad is what I would recommend. And a few weeks ago this tree looked like this. This is Magnolia denudata, and it's one of species on a list of magnolias that are okay to eat. Some of them haven't been tried, so they might all be okay to eat. But this one's lovely. Again, you don't want to have too much and maybe break up, you know, one or two petals maybe. It's peppery and gingery. It's lovely. Really is nice. It's got a firm bite to it and probably is worth drying and using as a spicy seasoning. Now here we have cow parsley. Now I've known cow parsley for so long, probably just slightly younger than I am. But you can eat the shoots, you can eat the flowers, and you can eat the leaves. You can eat the stems, I mean. Stems, flowers and leaves. And I think the root is good for Chinese herbal medicine. There's some out in flower. So I'm going to try a bit of flower for you. Oh, that's sweet and perfumey. That really is. That's nice. I wouldn't want to eat loads of it. So I'll try a young bit of leaf that's in flower. Yeah, that's got a very perfumey taste to it. Now this is one you need to learn your identification. I'm not going to eat. I'm going to go and find some younger ones. What I would say about it is that it might need a little, it certainly need a dressing. It's quite bitter, I find. Quite dry. Look at that head. Yeah, 5. This one's probably better to look at. And the woodpecker to serenade. But that's cow parsley, showing you geometry in nature. And possibly this would be, Culpeper may attribute this to Venus. That's just a guess. Now here's some younger cow parsley, as you can see there. I don't know if you can, but yeah, here's a young stem. I'm only going to have a bit of the leaf on that. Bitter and perfumed. I mean, You don't want to have loads of it, but it's nice. And while we're here, there is this. Now this is ground ivy. If you have a look at the leaves there, you can see that it's sort of kind of heart-shaped with a big indent and very hairy. So let's try a leaf. Again, unusual sweetness. If you've ever weeded ground ivy, you'll know that it tastes like it smells. And I'm going to try a flower as well. Yum. Flowers are nice, they're sweeter, but that's an interesting taste. And if you want my recommendation, yeah, I'd put all of them in a salad. I wouldn't go overboard. If you're going to have, I'd put some in, I wouldn't put loads in, but maybe use, you know, hedge garlic, ramsons. Dandelions are very bitter, so take the youngest ones and just do a complete mix and make a dressing is what I would recommend. Now this is a Geum wood avens, which just seeds everywhere. Now if you dig that up, the roots, you can use the roots. Yeah, it's a real pain to wash it and get it clean though, because it's like so fibrous and like a nest really, but getting it clean it can be a pain. And I think you can eat that raw in salads as well as make it into tea, I believe. Now these are sweet violets. I think only the flowers, which gives them their name, sweet violets, they're sweet. And they are sweet. They'll just be another thing you can use for a garnish, just to brighten up your salads. Beautiful looking plant, a bit like a butterfly almost. Now what we have here is white dead nettle. And again, leaves and flowers, so I'm going to try the flowers first. Nicely sweet, lovely. And I'm going to take a, these are related to the nettle, but they're not stinging nettles. And the leaves taste a bit potatoey. And there's some buds about to come. But yeah, that's nice. I would thoroughly recommend. Now if you live in Britain, you know what nettles are. These are stinging nettles. You just eat the tops. And yeah, I know what I'm doing. I can touch it and not be stung. So, shall I eat one raw? What you can do with these, and it's a fun thing, and I do it to make builders think I'm hard. If they've got a fire going, I'll pick a stinging nettle and you basically run it through the flames so it burns off the sting and the poison, and eat it, and it tastes like marshmallow. I'm serious, it actually does. So I'm going to eat that raw. And it slightly stung my tongue, but nothing serious. But heat is what destroys the poison. So you could just briefly steam and you could eat it, but you just get the tops, you pinch the tops off. Wear gloves, obviously. Now, I've just spotted something in here, which I'll add, but I won't recommend, is this. This is, oh, now I've forgotten its name. It has red berries. It goes yellow, orange, green. Green, yellow, orange, red berries. Black bryony. And young shoots are steamed and eaten in various places. But again, it's a very poisonous one, and I wouldn't recommend you doing it. I'm just adding it here because it's one of interest. Again, it's got heart-shaped leaves. I don't know if that's very clear. And they go black in the autumn. There you go. They go black in the autumn, which gives it its name. Now, the May tree. This is hawthorn. And the leaves, young leaves, can be eaten. But they're kind of chewy. They're very dry. But you can also chop them up and make tea out of them. But do it before the flowers appear is always a good recommendation. But that wasn't too bad, actually. That was quite nice. But you can tell on a taste, you can tell if they're going to be a bit rough, almost papery is how they go. Cowslip flowers. It's very subtle, and I think the stinging nettle has taken away my response to that flavour. But again, I wouldn't recommend that you go out and harvest them in places where you can't go. I'm allowed to go here, and I've just ate one flower, and I'm not going to harvest any, but there are thousands here, so it would be possible to do. But again, if you're going to do it, you know, you just take one from each plant, one. But even so, you know, and then the next person comes along and takes one, and the next person comes along and takes one, and the next person comes along and takes one, and very soon you're just left with a choice of 3, you know. That's not a good thing. But in the 70s, as I say in another video, they were banned from being picked along with bluebells and various other things, and that's why bluebells have actually come back in our woods, because they did dwindle. People were going out and digging them up. There's blackthorn flowers. I don't think they're edible. I don't know, to be honest. I've never tried. But that's not why I'm here. Why I'm here is because of this. This is cleavers. Many names, because it sticks to you. Yeah, it's not going to stick to me. Oh, yeah, kind of. But yeah, you can eat the leaves or just the tops. I have tried it. I wasn't a fan, actually, and maybe it would go all right in, you know, as a small amount, not loads. Don't overdo it, but in a soup. In a spring soup. But you know, everyone's taste is different, so you just got to experiment. But I know I wasn't a big fan, but then I do wonder if the person I did it with has got strange taste anyway, and I do wonder if their cooking skills left a lot to be desired. They've been around me all morning. It's lovely, just hanging around. Beautiful. Now this is a common weed here. This is called bittercress, and well, you can eat the leaves. Moist, bit like radish. Very nice. There's your radish substitute. I'm not sure about eating the flowers and the stems, so you might have to do your own research on that one. But as for the leaves, yes, lovely. Thoroughly recommend that one. That's one of my favourites. In fact, that's my favourite so far today. And you will find it in certain gardens. You'll find that growing quite commonly, which is quite useful for something so tasty. So let's take a look at probably the last thing now. Which is the beauty of rosemary flowers. So which wouldn't overdo it, but definitely put a few of those in. That gives you a nice bit of fragrance and herbal rosemary bite, as well as a beautiful colour. I mean, look at those leaves, flowers, I mean. Just as the wind blows. And this plant here is Herb Robert. It's a member of the Geranium family. If you look in there, you can see hairy red stems, feathery leaves, and stinks a bit. Has pink flowers. Now I think that's edible, but again, I only think, so do your own research on that one. The only reason I'm not interested is because I can't stand the smell of it. I don't mind a bit of geranium oil in the bath, but it's got to be mixed with something else. But very hairy stems. So there's one for your homework. Now I mentioned this earlier, this is lesser hogweed. Look in there, that's the stems, and they're the leaves. But I'm not going to show you how to identify it. You can take responsibility for yourself on that one. But what I am going to show you is the young shoots. And there they are. That's, when they say young shoots, that's what they mean. So if you're going to try it, that's what you're looking for. So that ends the quick foray into foraging. It's only quick because I had no plans to do this video. I was just here and I saw the amount of stuff that was just around, but imperfect. I mean, sometimes, you know, the day is not right. It could have been pouring with rain. So I thought I'd take the opportunity to show you and give you a quick tour. Like I said, I'll put the Latin names on the screen, and yeah, eat well, but don't overdo it. Thanks for watching. Ta-da.